Well, hello, this is Dr. Scott. I wanted to walk you through two very valuable handouts for English 1A because, to be honest, students are frequently shocked, yes, shocked, to find out that proofreading counts in a college level English class. And that's not to say that content and ideas and critical thinking and research and elegance and style don't count. They definitely do. But one of the reasons there's prerequisites in a class like this is that I should be able to expect a certain level of proficiency in proofreading. That means grammar, spelling, punctuation, syntax. And for those of you that are ESL non-native speakers, that also means that I should expect that you've reached a certain level of fluency with the English language. So I just want to quickly show you some tricks that all writers use. And by the way, if you are a native speaker, the ESL essential tips work just as well for you. So stay tuned. Some of the things that you can do. I find that if I proofread on paper, not on screen, it makes an enormous difference. So here I am doing a screencast. But honestly, if I was doing this, if I was writing something where proofreading counted for me, like a job application or a grant application or a conference paper, I would definitely print it out on paper and I would let it do what I call cool off, which is, in other words, I'd walk away from the writing, preferably for at least a day, but if not, at least for an hour, so that when I came back to it, it felt like someone else wrote it, not me. I can't tell you how much difference that makes. You do need to budget time for proofreading, and some of you need to budget even more time for proofreading because you have higher challenges. I want to emphasize again, I'm not a fascist grader. I'm not a grammar Nazi. I make mistakes myself. There are errors in these top 10 tips from time to time. But I do have to expect a certain baseline level, and you should also. You're paying for a college level course and certification as a college level writer. Um, Another great tip is to search for something different each time. If you think about all the different tasks your poor brain has to do in proofreading, you're trying to check grammar, you're trying to check spelling, you're trying to check punctuation, you're trying to check syntax and diction, and whether you've used the right word, and things like capitalization and MLA formats all at the same time. Much more effective to pick one at a time and go through looking for just that. Of course, use your computer spell check. I'm always shocked at the students who don't use them. I'm so old, I remember when we didn't have spell check, and trust me, I lived for spell check when it was invented, plus I don't have to carry around a 5-pound dictionary with me anymore. If you look for pattern problems, here's a very good tip. Most of us make certain mistakes over and over again repeatedly. For example, I have a horrible time spelling the word necessary, and I know it's necessary to spell the word necessary, but I also know that Scott Langford can't spell it. So I double check my spelling for those words. I double check spelling for authors' names because I'm very bad with names and I will misspell Shakespeare's name if you give me a chance. Reading your stuff out loud, just as I'm doing right here, can provide a huge way for your ears to help your eyes, and it is so effective for so many students. You can hear the air that your eye skips over. Asking your peers to help proofread, and tutors too, is fine as long as they're not doing it all for you. It's a way to learn. And all of us who are professors pass our stuff around when it really matters, like a job application or a grant application, to our peers for that reason. You can actually literally put your finger on the page or the screen if necessary and make your eye stop on each word, because the way the human brain works, you skip over words rapidly, one reason that proofreading is so hard. And to really break this up, another great professional trick is to read the last sentence of your essay first and then the second to the last sentence and so far and so forth. Reading the whole essay backwards is actually a way that you're then looking at just, is this a sentence? Does the grammar make sense? Does the spelling make sense? You can proofread for other things like flow and coherence and ideas at another step. Now, for those of you who are non-native speakers, know your weaknesses. There's always pattern weaknesses. When I speak French, I sound like an American speaking French because I make a whole series of pattern errors that are totally predictable. For example, the feminine and masculine noun forms in French, which we do not have in English. And of course, I make mistakes with them all the time. So I know to proofread for those when I'm writing in French, which isn't often. I do not try to write long sentences in French, even though my French teachers taught me to. I write short sentences, and in English it's even more important because in American English, we love short sentences. Those of you that grew up in former British Commonwealth countries or current British Commonwealth countries have often been taught these long, tangly sentence structures, And actually, to be an American writer, particularly an American business writer in your career, short sentences work best. They pack more power and they are far easier to proofread. Of course, you can use a grammar handbook online or in print. You do need to verify your verbs to make sure that your subject-verb agreement is there. These are all pattern errors that are quite common. Count non-count nouns, something that you might need to review in your ESL textbook, because I have to tell you, most language speakers, regardless whether they're coming from Asian or European or South American countries, make these kinds of errors constantly. And if you know you're going to make them, if you review the rules, it can really help. You can sign up for ESL support courses, and these need to be updated because we just updated them this quarter. So I will redo those numbers and move on right now. You can revisit your old ESL skill set by getting out your old textbook or talking to your old ESL teacher. You may need to cut back on your course load if you're an ESL student, especially since you're taking an advanced course now. Budgeting time for extra editing, just knowing that that's part of the game because you are a non-native speaker. And of course, you're welcome to use our online and in-person tutors. We have the TLC, which is in the library at Foothill College physically. If you're taking this course online, there's 24/7 tutoring available through Canvas, and it's amazing and it's effective, and you should use it. They won't fix all your grammar and spelling and punctuation errors for you, but they'll teach you little tricks so that you can improve over the long run.